And a good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Greg. It's Sunday morning. We made it to the day of rest. How good is it to sit and have a coffee? Now, I just noticed that they're headed to the moon again. And to be honest, I'm that far removed from technology and what's going on in the world. I learned about this trip to the moon from a YouTuber called Jay Tolan, and we're going to look at his video because it's very interesting. And I'm not ashamed to say that I don't know what's going on in the world, because I actually it's a proactive measure of mine not to pay attention, because I do see the transparency of the drama, of the show, of the staging. I do see that the biggest war going on in this world today is it seems to me to be a huge psyop. And you know what? If you say, "Oh well, you're one of those conspiracy theorists and you're crazy," but you know what? If I think in the simple operations of life, I think it's just much simpler to just turn your head away from it. Really, seriously. You'll discover you've got so much space, so much heaven to think about your own shit. Yeah. Think about what you got going on in your own subconsciousness and your consciousness, and right, how to take a trip to your subconsciousness and understand what's out of tune. This might be a much easier if you're not paying attention to, say, the rip-roaring centrifugal forces of social media, because if you pay attention, there's some serious breakdowns going on out there. All right, let's get into this here. This is very, very, very interesting. And all right, first of all, I will say I am not a professor, or I don't know much about this, but I'm going to say what comes to my mind to do with the heliocentric model and what they're proposing here. They're showing their flight path, and to me it's very suspicious, because now I get it too. Like, there's the path that they could show for the layman that doesn't quite get the dynamics of what's actually going on here. Because in the Copernicus or the heliocentric model, there's a lot going on. Like, really, the Earth is supposedly spinning at over 1,000 miles an hour. It's supposed to be moving at like 24,000 miles an hour. And the moon itself is a very fast traveling entity. Like, it travels through a sign in 2.5 days. And now think about this now. The sun takes a full month, basically, to travel through a sign. Let's just say, as a benchmark. The moon is going through it in 2.5 days. The moon apparently is traveling over 2,288 miles per hour. So now this rocket that's going to travel has to breach some serious speed barriers, right? So it's got to move and exceed the speeds that are already happening. Okay, so let's just say it's launching from the Earth. The Earth is traveling at 24,000 miles an hour. So say, I'm going to go along with this now for a minute here until I start questioning. And then we're going to look at what Jay Dolan has shown here, which makes this it makes it so obvious that they're telling lies. This is another staging to show the arrogance of Americans. And I'm sorry if I'm not trying to say like American citizens, because you're just like us, like Canadian citizens or any other citizen in the world. And that's what I found too. I found the conflict always comes from the ruling entities. I've never met another man or woman from another country that I did not like or get along with, as a person. Problems are caused by governments. That's the whole problem. And because that's how they control us. They control us through entropy. And as simple as that. Now, sizing up this flight path here, they've got a circle. Okay, they're going to launch off the Earth that's spinning out. It's traveling. It's moving. I get it. Okay, so it's like moving in a car, right? You don't have to catch up with your car if you're driving at 120 kilometers an hour. You don't have to. You're moving at that speed as a body with the car. So, okay, we'll leave it at that. So the rocket is going to now leave the Earth, all right? And then it's going to then spin around the Earth. It's moving now at the same speed. It's going at 24,000. So let's just say they're using the Earth's travel now as a slingshot to get out there into space, okay? All right? And this is where we're going to get into some, I feel it's kind of funny. So they're going to slingshot around the Earth, and then they're going to exceed the 24,000 miles an hour, I believe they're saying that this thing's traveling. And then they're going to slingshot out into space. And like these flight paths, they have to be very, very accurate to say stay on track. Otherwise, they're just going to fly out into space and they're never going to be seen again, according to the model. That's what I'm saying here. And as well, I am only looking at this from an intuitive sense. I'm not a any kind of a physicist. I don't know, but I do have, as what we call common sense, and I can apply that to what they say is to do with the physics on Earth, the physics in space, right? They're saying some pretty strange things, and it seems to defy the operations of what they're attempting to do. If you're flying out into space, now they're going to have to fly and wrap around the moon and come back. So, are they saying that? Are they going to use the moon's gravity to pull them back around? Because I think that this is a pretty small window if you're moving at 24,000 miles an hour out there. And what about the fuel? The fuel that they have to use to get back. Because look at the flight path. Okay, so they're slingshotting. Okay, they're slingshotting. They're using the momentum of the Earth traveling at 24,000 miles an hour. But hang on now. You're doing a figure eight. So you're coming back and you have to catch up now with the Earth. So you're doing 24,000 miles an hour, and you're going to expect the moon's gravity to bring you back around. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting they're thinking that the moon's gravity is going to slingshot them back around and send them flying to catch up then with the Earth's travel through the solar system. Oh yes. And then they're going to come in and enter the Earth's atmosphere again, like a meteorite, okay? And everybody aboard that craft is going to not cook because they've got this special paint on it, See, there is a breakdown of reality that you have to come to terms with. And there's a point where you could say, well, you know what? I don't need to stress my brain about trying to figure this out because it's actually a lie. Like, this is one of the grandest shows of this century. I mean, the moon landing, well, that was actually kind of funny. If you go and you study the footage and the documentation, it's hilarious that this lie was pushed. But you see, that's the thing. It's pushed. The narrative is pushed, and that's where the technology is just pushing the lie. It takes a lot of fuel to keep this model alive because we don't use it. And that's my point of the whole thing. Like, our day-to-day lives do not depend on the Copernicus or the heliocentric model because we don't use it. We don't use it for anything. And it's a very, that's where the common sense comes in. So it actually takes a lot of propaganda, a lot of money to keep the Copernican or the heliocentric model alive. Because otherwise it would die, because we don't use it for anything. Now, I understand the layman out there that you're walking about your day, your operations is not about navigating, flying, building, engineering. So your operations are just theory. So you have this story in your head. It's a heliocentric. You believe the Earth is a ball. You believe it's traveling 24,000 miles an hour, and you. But here's the problem. Here's a problem with that. You see, if you're paying attention as well to science and the evolution of science, the discovery of science, medical science, think about biology. If you look at this fella by the name of Michael Levin, he is making discoveries. He's showing things about biology that actually has to do with Platonic spaces. This has to do with Euclidean geometry, which are geometric principles upon flat planes, like crystals. Have you ever seen a crystal ball in nature? No. They're all made of flat faces. That's because atomic structures will pile themselves, stack themselves, build themselves upon straight, flat lines. You ever look into a snowflake? A snowflake starts from a center point, from a nucleus. It builds out on a plane, on a crystallized flat plane. So if you look at, well, you might say, Greg, you're forgetting a raindrop. Raindrop is completely different. What a raindrop is doing is water has a tension surface that when it becomes small enough that the tension itself will exceed the volume and it will form a drop. Okay, it will hold itself together. But as it gets bigger, it becomes the tension would have to be very, very strong to keep it into a drop. So it spreads out because say the volume will exceed the water, say the sac or the skin tension. And see, a raindrop doesn't have skeleton like we do that holds our bodies up, and we don't have muscles that allows our limbs to move. So there's lots of things to think about, but going back to the basics of life and operations, we do not use anything whatsoever to do with curvature, spin, or it. We operate, we measure from a stable, still, solid foundation. And of course, our ancient structures will prove that. Every equinox, every solstice, it is stable. This is how we measure. And that's how we measure the stars. That's how we measure our geography. And I mean that is the biggest, most clearest, logical, substantial proof for me. Well, I mean, we can argue about it for centuries, but we're still going to operate on a stable, flat foundation. That's the way we go. That's the way we operate. All right. Now, let's say from a philosophical sense, from a point of view, why we should stick to our operations and the principles of our operations, being flat, being reasonable, being logical, because we have what's called a subconscious mind. That has to do with how our subconscious fields work. You may not understand where I'm going with this, but what I'm saying is that the conscious has to be connected to the subconscious. And so in the field of biology, of what Michael Levin, this biologist, is studying and showing and proving, is showing us that we are in communication with these, say, forms of information that have to do with the outcome of, let's just say, everyday health. Now, there's another fella called, his name is Rupert Sheldrake, and he as well is bringing forward some, like he's rebranding, ancient terms such as the Akashic records and whatnot. He's calling it the morphic field, where he says that through habit we have intelligence. So he's saying that the mind exists outside of us. And I believe this. This is the way I experience my own mind, say, in meditation. If I am in meditation, for example, and I want to connect to what the ancients called the Akashic records, let's just say, okay? Let's just say that there is information stored up outside of me, not in my brain. Let's just say that all my brain is a say a tuning board. Let's just say that beyond my nut, like a guitar, at the top of a guitar, there's a nut, and the strings will go into the tuning pegs. Let's just say that the tuning pegs is where my brain is, and I use my brain to tune into the Akashic field or information that I want to retrieve or receive, let's just say. And through my meditation, say practice, when I sit and I begin to tune myself through tone, through chanting, I begin to receive information. Things will come into clarity for me. As I begin to silence my mind, ironically through sound, like I do, I can silence my centrifugal thoughts, bring them into the center through using a tone of Om, and then bringing myself into the breath. I can bring myself into clarity while sitting, yes, flat, upright, stable. I'm not spinning, I'm still. And the whole point is about bringing yourself into a state of rest. So consciously, I am practicing this, and subconsciously as well. There is no disconnect between my conscious knowing and my subconscious knowing. But understand this, in the morphic field and the theories of Rupert Sheldrake, who is simply rebranding an old ancient philosophy of the Akashic fields, he is saying that our knowledge, our database, is stored outside of us in a field that is made of habit. Do you understand? So it's like the 100 monkey principle, whereas their instinct comes from, say, data that's stored outside the tribe or whatever you call a group of monkeys. Whereas when 10 monkeys begin washing their apples, when 100 monkeys begin washing their apples, all of a sudden, all of the islands in the area begin to wash their apples, and they're not connected. They don't have iPhones, they don't have Facebook. They are connected to this morphic field mind that's outside of them. It's a collective mind. So what it suggests is that mind and minds are like, say, iPhones that have signals and that are able to transmit and receive to and through each other. So say the morphic field is made of living minds. So as one, say, and imagine this now, if our immortality is through, say, the bloodline of our family and our the people that are living. So if I die, for example, I will return back to the field of living minds. So, and hear me out here, because what I'm saying is that the morphic field is, say, sustained by living minds that operate. It's like an internet, okay? It's like an active living field that is like a giant brain. It's firing, like we're firing right now. I am thinking of my mother. My mother is thinking of me. I'm thinking of my brother, my sisters, and they're thinking of me, and the people I know. That, like, we're all sharing this field together, and in this field is a morphic sustenance. It's an internet. It's a web. It's an organic web. All of humanity is joined on this web. And so when you die physically, you simply return back to that field. You're no longer say an active transmitter receiver. You just go and you rest in that field. And so what I am saying, I'm using the physics of our modern day technology to compare it to how minds the human brain, like the human ability to transmit and create light is measured. Like we can measure that every person with a heartbeat has an electrical field. That electrical field can transmit and receive. It is a sophisticated embodiment, is what I'm saying. And so, if you get a group, let's say that you get a group of people together, we are like individual magnets or fragments of one magnet. When we're together in one room, we become to be psychically attuned. Take people that are in a concert hall, or if you've ever walked into a comedian's show and you go in, everybody's laughing. Like, you might want to laugh too because it's contagious. You understand? Right? So there are these realities that most of us, not all of us, some of us are too preoccupied and too numb to feel or to see what I'm saying. But there's this reality that extends beyond the mundane. When we start to see how we are connected through the field, through each other, through the morphic field, through morphic resonance, and we begin to see in the patterns, because in my work, what I've done, through the book that I've just written, this book is based on some pretty intimate spaces with my own subconsciousness through meditation. And so why did I write this book? First of all, I wrote this book for my own soul journey, and for my own survival, for my mental survival. You see, for me, coherence and clarity is peace. When I am centered, coherent, I have peace. I have harmony. When I can identify sound through my spirit, through my soul, through my mind, I am like a virtuoso of my own, say, mental stage. And that's for me. That is for me, and that is for, how I sit in my own peace. And that's not for me to go out and brag about, but it is a worthwhile operation to try to share this, because, I feel that, I traveled through some pretty rough waters during Christmas and New Year's, and I put the practice in, I put the theory into practice, rather, and I come out with a second birth upon my own ship. See what I'm saying? See, I'm born onto this ship, this body, and that's my first birth. And then I am reborn through, say, a crisis, and I get a second birth. But the second birth, my perspective, my position has changed. So I'll never be the same again through the second birth and finding the peace within. So now, from this perspective, what I see is that the world outside is a giant consumerism stage. And if you simply look and follow the money, you will see that it's all an organized show. Everything you're seeing here is an organized show and distraction from what's going on. What's going on in our world is that you are being distracted And it does, you have to understand, there's no limits on how to distract and how to disconnect the mass, the group, from finding that their own morphic field, and understanding that the soul and the spirit technology. You see, the desperate measures that the controllers of this world will take to keep you disconnected from yourself and from the rest of your herd is drastic. They will do whatever they have to do. And trust me, it's not about using bullets or bombs or this or that. All of that is the war. The true war is mental war. It's a war for your mind. And if they can control your mind, they will control the world you live in and how you see it. And they have to control the world how you see it to maintain power. And this is a very, very old science. And so if you were to look at religion and science, you will see that they go together. That the science of religion is, why does it exist? Why is it organized? It is organized because of control, of power and energy. The churches are an organization to have power. It's as simple as that. Because the truth is, in the Christian scripture, Jesus says, you go and you practice in your closet. Don't go out and pray so that everybody can see you. And that's very true. Your true peace, your true balance is to your own privacy. And you should not need any organization to have power over you. That's not to say that I'm not contradicting community, because community is good. However, the community must be from your communion with yourself, right? So if you're a complete person and you go out to be a part of a community, you're whole in yourself, and you go out and you be whole with the community. It's not like, you're broken and you need to be saved, so you go to the church to be saved by the church. So you go out and you pay them allegiance, and you would even kill for them, right? So the whole thing is about powering and energy, and organizations, the church, the education, universities, governments. It's organized to maintain and to control. And that's a very simple thing. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to understand that. So I kind of got off track here. We're going to look at what Jay Tolan did here, because let's have a look. Let's have a look at what he's got to say. I got a great kick out of this, and let's see what he's going to say here.
Strap yourself to an exploding rocket. Yeah. So today they released this beautiful view of the Earth from some 100,000 miles away. Sure. So just in case you're curious about the land features, they used Google Earth. So there it is, Africa. That's what we're seeing. So let's analyze their beautiful pictures, see what information or misinformation we can extract. So it's about 60 miles. Interesting. Let's use that number. So this beautiful picture was taken by Reed Weissman. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a little sus. Well, you wanna see what I did? Yeah. So, I'm going to show you what they're hiding from everybody. That's right. Buckle up, people, because they're going down. Okay, so let's head over to the Gateway to Astronaut Photography of the Earth. They have quite a lot of data. So here's a typical photo we are going to analyze. Yeah, here's what it really indicates. So as you can clearly see, this is a highly distorted image or photo they took from the International Space Station. The horizon is horribly bent. Look at the solar panel seams, how they converge down at the bottom. Notice how it is stretched. Those two solar panels have the same width. The one is larger than the other one, and then there's barrel distortion. So basically, they've done a lot of shady things to distort the photos to bring us this fake curvature. But they didn't count on Jay Toller. I labored and created my own tool. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I had to write this in Python and add a bunch of corrections and transformations. There's 3 of them or 4. And here it is.
All right, everybody, I'm going to stop right there. Now, you see what our buddy Jay Tolan has done here. You see, if I go back to this right here, now, you see, do you see the problem here? You see, what they're doing is they're falsifying information that they're distributing, okay? So they're taking measures to lie to you. And so, like, here is the truth. Look at the perspectives. This is a distorted photo that they're selling to you. Why did they do this? This is the problem. So now look at what Jay has done. He has, look, see? Now there's no distortion in any of their spaceship parts. You see what I'm saying? So now the horizon is now again at eye level, right? So now go back to this picture here. Now see what I'm saying? Look, they take those measures to show you through a fisheye lens that, oh, this is reality. This is not reality. It is, look, that's reality right there. And another thing, look, go back to where this guy is here. This guy. Okay. He took that picture. He says he took that picture. Now, go back to this picture here. Okay. This is must have been on there when they were spinning out into space, so that they quickly took this picture here. And I'd like to see more pictures. Let's see now. We'll move along and see what Jay has got going on here, because he's done a lot of work through the years. He's been doing this for years. And why has he been doing it for years? You think he's doing this because of all the money he makes from YouTube? I bet he spends more money doing this than he makes from YouTube. I bet you he does. Now let's see what else he's got to say.
And here it is, folks. Look at those nice parallel seams. See, you can have confidence that this is the correct perspective. And look at that horizon. So if that's really 60 miles, I wonder how wide our field of view is. Ooh, let's do some calculations, shall we? Boom! Have a look at that, folks. 4,620 miles of horizon, flat as a pancake. There you have it, folks. The flat Earth in all its beauty. Who's right, Artemis or the Gateway? I don't know. It's all a big lie. For watching, guys, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Just remember, truth shall always prevail.
Okay, that's great. So, what he's getting at here, guys, this look, 4,620 miles, okay? And don't forget, 4,062 is the value of power. And that's coincidence. There's no coincidence. 8 inches squared on a mile. What is 8 inches squared on a mile? So how much curvature would you see? How many miles of curvature would you see? This is a lot. So what the man has just proven to us is that basically this is a lie. Okay? They've been caught on a lie. And it cannot be denied. This is the reality. So they went and they didn't show you exactly how reality is. They did not show you the truth. They're showing you a lie. And so, I mean, all right, you can be disconnected from your own inner truth if you like, but trust me, trust your own self. Even I'll say this, and there's no point going on and on about this. It is said that you cannot serve two masters. And so this is the way I think. I think when I get up in the morning, I look into a mirror that is flat. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm thinking from the logic of the logos. I'm thinking in terms of forms, information. I'm thinking through terms of my own dielectric field, which is a mind. I understand things through the philosophy of the flat earth and physics that I would not understand unless I had been, say, a mind that is of a flat, stable plane. And that's the truth. I mean, I have been a soul of a flat, stable plane for 11 years now. And I will never forget the day that it dawned on me. It was like something descended into me and my world changed. I was out looking at stars. And my whole world, my mind, become to be inverse. And it was a great moment. And I do believe that once you're a mind that understands that things exist, your mental awareness exists upon a tensioned field. Once you understand that tensioned field, you begin to understand how you can go into that tension field and begin to modulate your own, say, mental substrates. And that's what the book is about, The Long Golden Key of Saul On. It's a coherent work. I've been told through beta readers that it's hard to understand. And my own theory on that is that you can't understand it because you're spinning around on a ball. And that's about subconscious connection. So I believe that there is an intelligent lineage that comes from, as Rupert Sheldrake is telling us through science, and Michael Levin is telling us through science, that things exist through flat, stable, platonic spaces. And so there you have it. There's your red seal right there. There's your world above and your world below and your world within. See that black dot right there? That's your dipole. That's your polar north. That's your magnetic report card. You understand? It's a report card. So when you go compass, when you pass your test, when you go to return to your dipole, and in that place of centered peace, I'm saying when you die, when you exit this body, this shell, this bag of dirt, essentially, bag of nutrients, bag of cells, whatever you want to call it, when you let go of that, you will exist in the mental fields, and that will be the heavens. So as science nears its resting place, where everything is going to come back into coherence and everything is going to be revealed, but understand, the powers that be will do everything that they can to fool you, and this is a part of it right here. Look, can we be any more? Look, good on Jay Tolan for showing us this, because again, go and subscribe and support Jay Tolan's channel. And of course, you know what? Support this channel too, because we have to reinforce the numbers and the field of awareness. I want to talk more on this. Look, go to the sonosgematria.net. Go and download the manuscript. Become a beta reader. Share with me how you feel about it, and let's get back to basics. Let's get back to what is true. What is true? The tension field is a tensioned flat field. That is a flat field of mind, and they're stacked. They're pages. The Book of Life is a stacked page of tensioned disc. I know that. See, you can't comprehend that if you're spinning about on a wall, on a ball, and you will hit a wall. You'll hit a mental wall that you can't get through. And so, if somebody were to say to me, "Well, why did you change your channel now to this flat Earth channel? Like, are you crazy? Am I crazy?" No, I'm not crazy. I'll tell you what I am. I am a child in my heart. And when you're a child at heart, you have to protect your susceptibility to stories. So if you're going to let, say, stories and narratives of, say, news and the nonsense that's going on, look at what YouTube has done here today. They have put up a warning sign to say that what I'm saying is lies, okay? All right? And their warning sign is not put upon any other distorted conspiracy or nonsense today. It's only the flat earth. Why? Why do they take such measures to scrape and to comb and to listen and watch for people like me? They're going to immediately try to shut it down. They're going to put a wall up to say that what I'm saying is bad. No, what I'm saying is about resonance. This is a lie. What you see here in front of you is a lie, okay? That is the truth. That is the truth. Lie, truth. Lie, truth. Lie, truth. Guys, let it sink in. Understand that anything that you see today on a screen, at one time the education and the books were bought and presented. They were given to you free at one point. Why? To groom you, to control you, to get you let you go into the world as a slave. You're not free in this world. So, but you should be free within yourself. And that's why I do this. That's why I have changed my channel to a flat earth channel. Why not? Why not? Why not be free? Do you see what ridiculous nonsense is going on out there in the world today to distort people's minds? And if I present something that is logical, straight, upright, true, if I say the only truth is a geometrical truth, I'm wrong? No. But they will say I'm crazy. They will say that it's misinformation. They will say that it's archaic. Well, I will say this, that these characters that were, say, the gatekeepers, these iconic names that stuck sticks in the dirt to prove that the earth was a spinning ball, doesn't work. It doesn't work. Look, I can show you on a flat plane to cast the same shadows. It has to do about trigonometry. That's all it is. I move the light further away, the shadow is going to cast further out. It doesn't mean that the earth is curved. And again, what you're seeing here is lies. That's the truth. And so great measures will be taken to control your mind. Because that's the first thing that the powers that be have to control, is your mind. So here you have it. The earth is flat, and your mind is flat. The field where you exist, the emotional field, exists across a tensioned, perfectly flat plane. It is a vibratory plane that operates on sound. And that is the fact. That is the truth. So, there you have it. Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow morning with Admiral Cork. He's an Admiral now. We'll find out about his promotion and why he's an Admiral, and talk to him about that. He'd be very happy to share his story. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Go to the app, discover, work about, ask me questions. I love questions. Thanks for now. Have a great day.